Welcome. I wanted to dedicate this video to addressing some concerns for players who are newer to the game based on my experiences and mistakes that I've made. So we'll start right off with addressing the free agent market. Um, well, I made the mistake of believing that the players shown here are actually attainable with out an exorbitant investment. The reality is that each try you have gives you a very, very small chance of landing the player in question. Let's actually go ahead and do this. We'll pick any one of these guys because I have one free agent ticket to burn. So I will take a look, see if any of them have any decent skills. I like this guy the best, so I'm going to use ticket here, and you can see that I have a list on the right of things that I will possibly get, one of which is the player himself. And notice it says rare chance, and I do emphasize that is rare. I will point out to you that in the lower left, right here, is the gauge that as you try to land a free agent, that gauge will slowly fill out. Now, I found that basically one in every 10-ish chances it might increment a little bit. Uh, and once it reaches full, that means your very next try will be 100% automatic. So if you do manage to max out that scale, then start getting very, very selective about which player you actually want to sign as a free agent. So let's go ahead and use my ticket and we'll see what happens. I got conditioned drinks. So no surprise, my gauge did not advance at all, and I got conditioned drinks. And to give you an idea of how much people invest in this, I have personally, yes, it's embarrassing, but I have personally tried over 100 times to land a single player before ultimately getting him. And I'm not the only person who has gone to that level to actually land a player. So if you multiply that out, that is a huge investment. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is assuming that premium pack equates to premium players. The reality is, when you get a premium pack, that simply opens up the types of grades of cards that you can get. It doesn't mean that everything that you're going to pull from there is actually going to be a useful player or a good player at that. So it simply means that you might get the same old cruddy normal player that you got who played 50 games and hit 130 as a diamond by some small chance. I would encourage you to take a look at the other video I recorded where I opened up a number of premium packs and gave you statistics on what the likelihood of landing a gold or a diamond player is out of a premium pack. But the reality is that you have the highest likelihood of not getting anything. We'll just go ahead and buy one pack just so we can see this in action. And we'll take a peek, and I can see, what did I get? I got a silver player. And it just so happens to be I got actually a decent silver player, so that was fortunate, but it is a silver. And most of the stuff you're going to get out of premium packs are silvers. So that's mistake number two. Mistake number three is assuming that a diamond player automatically means that it is the better player, or that all diamonds are good. This is blatantly wrong, so do not make the mistake of landing your first diamond and automatically putting him on your team thinking that he's going to be better. So let me actually give you an example. I was really lucky. I happened to land a diamond player today who was absolute garbage. So let's take a look at this guy. Here we have, who is this guy? It's Enrique Hernandez. Now, if you look at my other videos, you would learn that if his grade increase numbers that I've just popped open here are actually excellent. He's actually, as far as he goes, this is probably the best version of him you will find. But if you look at his actual OVR now, you can see that he's a 73. He's a 73 as a diamond. You can already see that I have a bronze player in up condition that is a 71. And look at this. I've got a shortstop, Escobar here, who's nearly the same OVR, and he hasn't been upgraded yet. So as you upgrade him to silver, gold, diamond, he would far outshine that other player. So mistake number 3 is assuming that the diamond player is the better player. Review your cards, compare them, and make your assessment based on their actual numbers, not what grade or color they are. Mistake number 4 is very closely tied to the last one, and that is automatically assuming that the free agent and the auction players are actually a good investment simply because they are diamonds and you can get to them. We all know a brew here is a good player, right? But automatically assuming that this diamond card of his is a good diamond card because it's a diamond, and not actually taking the time to look into it, you would overlook the fact that if you add together his grade increase numbers here, what is he's 26, 36, 46, 52, 59. He's grade 59 player when he could potentially be up to a grade 75 player. Now, once again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about with grade increases, I recommend you look at my other videos and look at that. But the point that I'm making here is his grade is 59. And the cards that you get out of both free agent and auction are capped at grade 62. You will never be able to land in a brew that is as good as somebody who's potentially gotten it out of combo or managed to pull it from a mileage pack, for example. Same thing goes for the gold players here. If you crack these guys open, you add together their numbers, you're going to find that they fall in a range of 31 grade increase up to 42. And if you also know my other videos, you know that golds really should be in the range of 35 grade increase all the way up to 50. So once again, these gold players will never be as good as the ones that you get out of packs or out of combos. So do not make the mistake that and assume that these cards are automatically good cards. The one thing that I will say in favor of free agents and auction players is you know exactly what you're going to get. If you want a specific player from a specific team and it's the year that you want and you're willing to make the investment, well, then there's something to be said for that. I have done that myself. But assuming that the numbers are automatically going to be comparable to some other players, that's the mistake that you don't want to make. Mistake number 5 has to do with combining players. People want to believe when they start playing this game that through combinations they can build up their team and get better players. And while this is true to an extent, the mistake that people make is assuming that by putting their cards into combos that they will always get an equal or better player. When the reality is you actually stand a chance of getting worse players and a small chance of getting a better player. Because the reality is this game is built around gambling habits, and it's kind of made to make you lose first. So you have a higher likelihood of getting worse out of it than you actually do of getting better. But over time, if you keep working at the cards and keep making combinations, you'll ultimately land a better card. So if I do a combine here, I don't know that I actually have the cards that I want to invest right here. Okay, let's try this. I'll put up 2 bronzes and a silver in there. You would want to believe that you are going to get at least a bronze out of this and probably a silver, when the reality is the possible outcomes of this are a normal card, a bronze card, a silver card, or a gold out of a shuffle. Now, we can give it a shot and see what I get. I'm going to guess I'm probably going to get a bronze out of it. Oh, okay, I got lucky. I got a silver. We'll do another combo, same. This time we're going to put, well, let's stay with the same combo. And this time we ended up with a bronze. And one more time. That was pretty good luck. I wanted to show you that you could actually get a normal out of that as well, which would be a downgrade from all three of the cards that you had invested. Trust me when I tell you that you can, and that is quite often the case. So when you start talking about combos that involve diamonds, if I were to put this diamond into a combo, and I would think, okay, if I put a diamond into, oh my God, look at that, I have two Hernandez of the same year. How funny. Anyways, if I put, whoops, wrong card there. Just put two diamonds, or diamond, two golds, and two silvers into a combo. I would want to believe that I'm going to automatically get a diamond out of this, at least in my shuffle. The reality is I could get a shuffle that contains no diamonds. My guess is I'm probably going to get one diamond in my shuffle. Let's go ahead and make this combo. I got two. That's actually quite fortunate. So, and now here's the reality is I have a 2 in 7 chance of getting back one of the cards that I invested in. The reality is the highest likelihood is that I'm going to get a gold. So I've basically downgraded the diamond that I put into it. So let's see what I can get out of that. Now that is lucky because I wanted a relief pitcher. Now I actually have to analyze and see if I want to keep this guy. But once again, restating the odds, we had 5 cards in there that were golds, and the likelihood was that I was going to get a gold. So just remember, you very likely are going to get cards that are maybe equal and quite possibly less value than what you're putting into it. Mistake number 6 is our hidden mistake. This mistake is assuming that the person who says, I'm a girl in chat is actually a girl. Don't be a fool. Realize that people are playing you and there are lots of trolls out there, and don't get suckered into something, please. Mistake number 6 has to do with how you're building your team and overlooking the value of skills. More explicitly, mistake number 6 is assuming that a team with a high OVR is automatically a competitive or better team. There are better teams with slightly lower OVR based on the amount of effort the owner has put into skilling up his players. I'm not going to point out any bad examples because of our examples of people who haven't skilled up their teams, because basically that'd be lame. But I will show you an example of somebody who has put in the effort of skilling up his team, and you can see the effects on his players. So let's take a look at Killer Bo Sox here, and I happen to know that this guy has put a lot of effort into his team. He's also somebody that I learned a bunch of things from, so this is a shout out to him. But as we crack open his players, flip them over, you're going to see uh, all his skill levels on his players, ones that he's had long enough, are pretty much maxed out. He's put in the effort and the time to actually level out his skills. Pitchers are harder to do so, so I'm not going to be too surprised if things aren't maxed out here, but his pitchers are in very good shape too. You can see everybody's at skill level 6 and pretty much maxed out. So this team, when faced with another team that is of the same OVR and potentially even higher OVR teams, this team is generally going to beat those based on the fact that his players have all their skills in place. And that becomes even more important when you start talking about starting pitchers and relievers. So don't assume that high OVR automatically equates to wins. Investing a bunch of money in players and thinking, now I've got a winning team, I can go up to the top of the rankings and I can kill it there. You'll find, sadly, that you'll probably get destroyed. So that is mistake number 6. Mistake number 7 has to do with how you evaluate players and determining which ones you want to keep and which are actually good players. And that is making the mistake of believing that the name is a good indication of if the card is good or not. Let's take a look at, we'll stick with normal players here because they're easiest to compare to each other. And let's take a look at Pujols here, for example. Everybody knows that Pujols is a great player, right? And assuming that his card is actually going to be great based on the fact that he's a great player is the mistake that I'd like to highlight here. Please do not make this mistake. This Pujols card is OVR 62. Now, I could easily scroll through here and see that virtually half of the cards that I have here are higher than OVR 62. Um, and if you've watched my other videos, you know that the base card here, or the normal card here, is a projection of how he's going to be as if you upgraded him all the way to diamonds. Now, granted, you can't upgrade a normal, but nonetheless, you get the point. This Pujols is always going to be comparatively lower than all the other players here on this list. In my normal list here as a diamond player as compared to if these other players were also upgraded to diamond. His base card determines how well he will scale and how well he will max out. So Pujols, I'm sorry, his 17 version of his card, 2017, is not a good card. You can see that I have him as a prime, and he's an excellent player, but don't make the mistake of automatically assuming that his card is good because of that. Mistake number 8 is closely tied to mistake number 6. In fact, I probably should have tied them together, and I've actually already talked about a lot of the points of it. So I will just recap that player skills are actually very important. Now, not so much so when you come to playing normal season play, but if you want to do anything in ranked play, then you're going to want to spend some time investing in your skills. And that actually extends to players that might have lesser OVRs. They could be a superior player if they have better skills and are fully leveled up. Actually, I can give you an example of this. If we crack open my team, you can see that I've got pretty strong OVRs across all my batters, and then the one that sticks out like a sore thumb is Mike Napoli here. But if I take a look at him and I crack him open, I see his numbers they're okay. But I will tell you that in ranked play, he is consistently one of the top 3 performers on my team in home runs and average, and that is because he has an amazing set of skills. So this is an example of this player. He outperforms a 105 OVR Pujols. He outperforms some of my other prime players. He's quite simply very difficult for me to get rid of based purely on the fact that he has an amazing set of skills. Mistake number 9, I won't really be able to illustrate to you, so I'm going to have to talk you through it. And it has to do with combo types. And I can show you that if I throw 3 cards in here, including a diamond, that opens up the ability for me to make a star combination of 2,000 stars to get a full set of 7 diamonds in a shuffle. Now, the reason that this is not a good option and is a huge waste of money is one, I made the mistake of using it for a long period of time, but the 7 diamonds that you get in your shuffle, there is absolutely no guarantee that those are actually going to be good diamonds. So I showed you an example of a diamond earlier that was complete crap. The reality is there is no guarantee that I will not get a shuffle of all 7 of those. And the reality is the highest likelihood is you're only going to see maybe one good player in the shuffle. That means that the one player that you want to land is still a 1 in 7 chance. So if you multiply that out and you take 7 tries to get one good player, that means you've spent 14,000 stars and the diamond players in the combos to get that one good player. And if you translate that into money, we're talking a good $100 per decent player. And as you fill out your team, it gets worse because the players that you actually want, you might pull a good player, but it's a position you don't need anymore. So as you fill out your team, you have even less likelihood of getting a decent player out of an investment of 2,000 stars. So hopefully that makes sense. Don't make my mistake. Don't pump stars into 2,000 star combos for diamond players because you're going to see a whole bunch of crap in those shuffles. Mistake number 10 is primarily for those players who are going to be playing in ranked play and not so much for people who play in just purely season play. If you're going to play in ranked play, you need to have a solid set of relievers. Your bullpen needs to be decent relievers, and they need to be skilled. You can't get around it. Otherwise, you'll find that your starters are going to lead you to the 7th inning. The computer's going to replace them, and then people are just going to destroy you. So, take the time, get a good set of relievers, and skill them up. I can't show you, because that'd be a jerk thing to do, I can't show you somebody who hasn't done this, but once again, I will drill in and we'll take a look at somebody who will have taken the time to actually upgrade their relievers, and as I crack into this guy, you're going to see that his relievers are actually going to have skills that are not 1 and 2 and 3 level. So he's got cleaning up your mess at level 5. I don't know which one of these are his newest. Okay, Ziegler will be, he's max skilled his Ziegler. And so you can see he's got a solid set of relievers, and this is why Dodgers New is consistently in the top 10 players. So, once again, find good relievers, skill them up. Mistake number 11 has to do with level reset tickets. And basically, it boils down to you need to know what things do before you try and use them, and before you potentially waste a lot of resources on using them. So basically, I will walk you through actually using one and why you would use one, and etc. I'll probably actually do a whole nother video and dedicate that entire video to it. But for now, let's take a look at one of my players that I might consider using a level reset ticket and why I would do so. So to restate what these things do, first of all, a level reset ticket will take your scores. I'm sorry, let me find my player. I'm cracking him open. Porcello. Will take your scores, your enhancement scores. You can see the 9, 8, 13, 15, and 12 here. If I use a level reset, that will wipe those out and will set my level back to 1 of 20. So there's multiple things that come with this. First of all, I'm going to have to pay to level my player all the way back up to 20 again. And for those of you who have done it, especially with a diamond player, you know that getting from level 17 up to 20 is a very expensive affair as far as coins invested. So if you do this haphazardly and you just start resetting and you've got players that are level 20, if I reset this guy, I can expect to spend 700,000 coins, generally at least, to get this guy back up to 20. And that's a big investment. Now, understand that. And number 2, why would I want to do this? As you can see here, my enhancement points have all gone to stamina, fastball, and breaking ball. Now, I personally happen to value velocity a lot more than I do stamina. So I might consider, in fact, I probably will, go ahead and reset this guy, and so that I could re-level him up and potentially get more velocity out of my level up. So actually, let's go ahead and do it. You can actually see the effects here. So I'll jump into my inventory. You can see that I've got quite a number of these things. I'm going to use one. I'm going to find my pitcher, Porcello. Here he is. And I hit OK. It's going to reset him. And once I crack him open again, you're going to see that he's no longer grade 91 like he was. And if I look at his numbers, he no longer has any enhancement points, and his level is now 1 of 20. So I can train him up again, and I can start adding enhancements to him. And you can see that I got a 2 stamina and a velocity, which, once again, I don't like. But another thing to point out here is, notice my last boss is still level 6. Cleaning up your mess is level 4. And those were not affected by doing the level reset. So the only thing that are affected are my enhancement points, giving me an opportunity to re-level him back up again. So generally what I would do is I'd probably level him up to level 5 and see how his enhancement points distribute. And if they keep going to places that I don't like, I would re-level him again while the cost is still cheap to level him up. And already he's got 3 points into stamina, which I don't care about. And you can already see that it's getting expensive because I'm burning through failed attempts. So you can see that I ended up with 3 in stamina, none in fastball, or 1 in fastball and breaking ball, and only 3 in velocity. I would rather have seen a higher number in velocity. So I would go ahead and I would jump back into my inventory. I'd grab another level reset ticket. I use it once again, pick out Porcello once again, hit him with that ticket again, and begin the whole leveling process one more time. And hope that he gets a better distribution. And there we go. If I had all my level ups that were like that one, I'd be a pretty happy camper. So already this is looking better. I haven't gotten any staminas yet. There's my first one, but out of 3 attempts, only 1 stamina. That's good. So you can see, recap, doesn't reset your skills, resets all your enhancements, sets your level back to 1, and forces you to reinvest all the money to get him leveled back up to his original level again. The last mistake I want to discuss has to do with condition drinks and equipment. Now, basically, the issue here is that people overvalue these things or assume that they need them in order to be either A, competitive in ranked, or B, just have better outcomes during their season play. This is really more oriented towards the ranked play. In season play, using equipment and stuff like that can help you make better use of your bonus multiplier or something like that. And generally boost your stats. But in ranked play, the equipment in your down condition and condition drinks, honestly, they don't have a huge impact. First of all, what I'd like to point out is in ranked play, if I take a look at the top players, I want to attempt to locate somebody who's got an OVR score that is actually higher than what you would find in games. So let's take a guess. I'm going to see Dodgers new here is showing at OVR 103.6. Now, if I were to select him as an opponent, actually, sorry, he's showing as 105.9. And if I hit enter to play a game against him, notice that the numbers that are actually showing in here are lower than 105. There's no way that these numbers would average out to an OVR of 105. Basically, what this points out is when I start this game, his team is actually going to be without equipment. Whereas if I put on equipment, it would. So thinking that you need to have equipment on your players so that they can play better during your home games when somebody plays against you is a mistake. And then also, I like to simulate most of my games. Equipment has pretty much no impact on simulated games. So don't make the mistake of burning all the gold equipment that you have when you're running simulated games. It's pretty much not going to affect the outcome. The only time that I would say you want to use equipment is if you are manually playing somebody in an away game. Then it can actually be helpful. Now, the other part of this whole thing is condition drinks. When I first started the ranked, in the very early seasons, I would always up condition my players. I would never let anybody be down. And over time, I ran out of condition drinks, and I eventually had to accept the fact that I could not keep everybody in up condition. And you know what happened? I didn't see any change in my performance of my players. Everybody was hitting about the same. I was winning about the same number of games. My pitchers were doing okay. It's it was pretty much non-impactful. So much so that when I go into my lineup, I will leave, in general, I will leave down-conditioned pitchers in play, and certainly down-conditioned batters I'll leave in play, but pitchers I will consider. I happen to have a whole bunch of replacements, so I don't have to do that anymore. Um, but nonetheless, it doesn't kill me to have down condition players in my lineup. So don't waste all your money trying to buy condition drinks and boost everybody all the time. It's really not that important, and especially not with the equipment. Certainly don't waste it when you're just sitting and thinking that it's going to help you in your home games. It won't. And don't burn too much money. You can use it very selectively when you play away games, and certainly not when you simulate anything. Okay, and that's that one. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening and watching and listening to all my ramblings. If you have any questions about any of these things that I've raised, please feel free to leave some comments. I'll respond as best I can, and any other feedback you have is welcome. So once again, thanks.